It was around 6 in the morning when Lefty, Brooks, Dixie, and Layla walked across the street to McDonald's. They discussed the job while they ate. Despite having been awake most of the night, Lefty didn't mention Bruno's call, feeling that mentioning it somehow sullied Layla. As they sat and talked, Lefty said, "Dixie, I would like you to stay at the motel and watch Layla." He knew at once he'd said the wrong thing. Dixie immediately became pissed. "What?" she asked. "And leave all the killing to the big strong man? Why? Because I'm just a poor little weak woman? Because all I'm capable of doing is cooking and cleaning and watching kids?" Brooks chimed in. "We all know that's bullshit, woman. You couldn't cook or clean to save your life." Before she could respond, Lefty said, "I'd really like Layla to be somewhere safe." "Then you stay behind and watch her little ass," said Dixie. Lefty exhaled, pausing briefly before saying, "This job was my idea. I brought this to you. This is my goddamn job. I'll be damned if I miss out on it." He paused before adding, "I want to be the one who kills Bruno de Lorenzo." Dixie said, "Why can't Brooks stay back at the motel and watch the kid?" Brooks laughed. Dixie looked at him. "What's so funny, Brooks?" she asked. "It was okay if I stayed behind, but somehow the thought of you staying behind is ridiculous." "None of this is helping," said Lefty, wondering if the level of irritation and annoyance he was feeling came through in his voice. "Well, here's an idea," Dixie said. "How about you leave your goddamn kid at home next time you go out on a job to kill gangsters? How about that, huh?" Lefty looked at Layla, who was oblivious, reading An Incredible Hulk. Brooks reached over and put his hand on Dixie's wrist, trying to calm her, but Dixie wasn't having it. She waved him away. "You get your goddamn hand off my wrist unless you want to lose it, Brooks Barker." Brooks pulled his hand back as if it was about to touch fire. "Could you please calm down?" he asked. Dixie stared at him with daggers in her eyes. "That kind of shit is the reason I left your ass." "What does that mean?" "It means I'd like to have a man who could calm me down without telling me to calm down." Brooks looked at her, amazed by what he was hearing. "What then? How do you express to someone that you want them to calm down without asking them to calm down?" "Maybe you could just slap him across the face like you did that time in Minnesota," she spat. "That was one goddamn time," said Brooks. "It was a mistake, and I admit it. I fucked up, but don't let that one thing overshadow everything else. That wasn't typical of our marriage. We were together for decades, Dixie, and that only happened once." And so on. They were in the caddy now, and Lefty ejected the Curtis Mayfield CD. He needed mood music, something appropriate for the situation at hand. He slid in Tupac, playing If I Die Tonight. Brooks made a face, confused by what he was hearing. Then he looked back at Layla, rapping along verbatim, talking about killing various motherfuckers. Before he could comment, Dixie spoke up. "Your daddy lets you talk that way?" Layla looked at her. "Daddy says it's okay to say motherfucker, as long as we're listening to Tupac." Lefty looked back at her in the rear-view mirror. "Or Ice Cube." "Right," said the little girl, nodding. "Or Ice Cube." Brooks asked in earnest. "What exactly is a Tupac?" Layla giggled. "Dixie's right. You really are old." Everyone in the car laughed except Brooks, who was still wondering what a Tupac was.